capitalize on the initial idea and capitalize on the enthusiasm of receiving the materials to even begin the project. And in order to begin the project, you do not have to know what you are doing. Literally, if I had to wait in order to know what I was doing to begin a project, I think I would have to wait 10 years. So I'm very much a perfectionist, and my advice to others who might be held back by even how to begin and wanting to begin in a state of perfection is don't even try to make it good at first. Just try to make the thing, and also to make it in a comfortable and happy and joyous way that is like comfortable on your body, and then begin to perfect the process of how to make it, and again do that in an unpressured way. You learn as you go, like that's what I would say, and that's also part of the creative process. So I might have a very, very clear vision or a very, very clear inner blueprint of how I would like an end product to be. And I also recognize that part of the creative journey and part of the artistry and growing the artistic muscles is figuring out how to do it properly. And so definitely don't sacrifice your body, like do it, like I said, in a way that, you protect yourself from materials and chemicals, and also do it in an ergonomically or body posture comfortable way. And also it's an exploration, and that's part of what is fun and exciting to me. So this episode of the show has been all about novelty and things that are exciting. And I think that's a really good part of fostering creativity and the creative process. And there are other parts of the creative journey that are more restful or more peaceful and not as active and not as all over the place and not as exploratory and not as challenging to the muscles. This was very much like a workout for learning how to stretch, how to do new things, how to do new approaches, and being focused on the actual experience of doing something new. And what I find that in those, and I give myself creative freedom, and I've shared with you very authentically, like I showed you, all of my little baby steps and all of the things that are clearly imperfect in my projects. What I will do is take the elements that I enjoy the most out of what I did, either using a tool or using a tool in a particular way, or figuring out a way to make marks or use color, or figuring out a way to use some of this material and capitalize upon it. Like do that a million times, do that to the biggest degree. So I'll give myself creative freedom, just like make soup, make mush, do what is weird without a lot of self-criticism or judgment or whether it is good or bad, and then sieve through that and take the parts of it that were the most fun, the most satisfying, and then expand upon them, grow them like a sourdough medium, more. So I will take some of what I have shared with you over this presentation, and I'll take some of those motifs or some of those techniques, and I will bring them into greater levels of refinement until I might have a finished piece. These things are way more about feeding creativity. And then at other times in the creative journey, I feel more like continuing on in what is a familiar and comfortable approach. So I'll alternate these different things. That's what I'm really, the crux of what I'm trying to say here, the point that I'm getting to, is that this episode has been all about novelty and doing new things and feeding new nutrients, new. Then it's also really important to internalize the new stuff and put it into the structural integrity of your creative body and your non-physical, like structural, what would I call it, the blueprint of who you are in the non-physical body. Internalize it so it really becomes a part of you, and then use all of that new food to continue in the projects that you're doing. So as I do an experimental piece where I'm not that focused on what things will turn out, I'll take all of that new juice and new energy, and I'll also take that into some of these pieces that I'm much more familiar with, that are less exploratory, that are not that much of a surprise, just because over more than 10 years, I've already figured out my paint medium, exactly how the paint looks, exactly how things fit together. It's not that much of an exploration. It's more of something that is like, if you're a runner, like you put left foot, right foot is very, very familiar to you, and that's just what you do every day. So this is the more familiar, regular exercise, quote unquote, for my creative muscles that I do every day. And what I've done over this episode is feed lots and lots of new things into my creative muscles, and then the muscles are going to integrate, and then there will be even new approaches for what becomes my everyday, quote unquote, my everyday workout. So you don't have to know everything about what you're doing, and it does feed into the regular stuff that you already know that are very, very, very familiar. That's the whole idea of muscular cross training, and also this is like creative muscle cross training.